think the engineers are there.
I'm disappointed in what I read in Jamie's letters. Some of the stuff looks easy for a dumb dirt digger to, a mistake. This has been bouncing back and forth. I would really like to see it go. We can't approve anything till the end of next month, is that correct?
Well, it depends on, I guess the conditions being met.
Yeah, the schedule would be our agenda meeting and then the legislative meeting, so typically you would see it at the same.
Each meeting is a legislative meeting.
So it could be 2 weeks from now. So it depends, absolutely, please.
Ryan Cossiter with NVR. I was on the email with the letter that was received. You know, NVR, we work in a lot of different municipalities, and we work with a lot of different engineering firms. I would say 90% of those comments that are on that received on that list. Now there are some cleanup items, but
Could you repeat that?
I said NVR works in a lot of different municipalities, and we work with a lot of different engineering firms as far as reviewing with township municipal engineers. And I see a lot of comment letters come across my desk. 90% of those comments that are on that letter are not they pertain to the developer's agreement, the HOA documents, the sewer planning module. That sewer planning module, it should be conditioned upon the approval. You guys had the sewer planning module, Harshman had it for months. We finally got it approved to send to DEP. It went to DEP. Now DEP's in conflict with Mr. Kovac at Peters Creek. Now we have to wait for them to have a meeting. A lot of those items on that list are cleanup items that are discussed and worked out between the developer and the township and the solicitor during the developer agreement process. A lot of those items on that list do not fundamentally change the layout, the design, and the aesthetics of how that plan is going to look. Some of it is cleanup of a pipe. Hey, this pipe needs 6 inches of additional cover. Little items. And then the letter that we got last night, they've reviewed the plans 4 or 5 times. It had 14 additional comments that were never on previous. How many bites at the apple do we get? So I guess my point is that we need to keep moving with this. If we're not moving, we're not going to be getting out there. And what we're asking is, you give us an approval on this. Chris Ham's here with KDH. He can address any of those comments as well. We spoke. He's ready to resubmit plans by Monday. Back to the township. Back to Harshman. Half of that stuff on that list, it's the HOA documents. They want the HOA documents. Those aren't going to be submitted. We're not ready for that yet. We don't have final plans yet. That doesn't get done until the developer's agreement's ready to be with the township. A lot of that stuff does not need to be part of the final PRD approval.
Stay there.
So,
Comment, Jamie.
I'll address that. So, I'd say about 8 of the comments in the letter are things that are to be addressed in the future. And those comments are there as a reminder. I'd say about 25 of them should probably be addressed now. Additionally, I wouldn't be surprised if we had more comments in the future, just because the plans aren't as clear as what we'd like them to be.
All right, stop for a second. We're asking for PRD approval. We now have to come back in for final land development on the first phase of the first 73 lots. You're going to get a whole nother crack to look at pipe diameter, size, and all that stuff. We're talking minutia items. These are not changing pipe locations. We're not changing where road alignments are. We're not changing grading elevations. We are asking for PRD approval. You still have to review the final land development set, which you've already been submitted and then told us you won't start the review until the PRD is approved.
Right.
So that is sitting on your desk waiting for this approval.
That's due to changes in the PRD affecting that first phase.
What's changed in the first phase that's affecting that?
I mean, right now you have buildings built on top of easements. So until that's wrapped up,
What? No, we don't. Show me where. We do not.
I'll
It's
show you
not in
after
the
the
comment
meeting.
letter. It's not in the comment letter.
I'm gonna respectfully request, we're not gonna have this back and forth. If the board wants to approve it conditioned on our comments tonight in the essence of time, I have no objection to that. Our only role here is to be an advisory council to the board to give you an engineering review of the plans as they relate to your ordinances and good engineering practices. So you got a comment letter. I feel like the back and forth, we're just gonna upset Ryan. I don't wanna do that, and I don't wanna be disparaging towards his engineer, because the plans are looking great, but there's comments that need addressed, so. At that point, I'll kick it back to the board. Our position is to be respectful to our ordinances and our processes. It's not ready yet. At the same time, we've done it before. We've conditionally approved this development with 130 comments a couple of years ago. So, we'll work with whatever you give us to work with. But I don't think the back and forth is gonna be helpful tonight.
And I respect Jamie for saying that, I respect Jamie, I think, my point is that a lot of the things on there they're not pertain to this approval, and a lot of those items are part of the next submission that's already on Jamie's desk for review, that will be addressed, pipe sizes, things like that they have on their desk that are already in for review for the first phase. It has to go through a full process again.
Is that true with the pipe sizes? Does that make a difference?
There's one pipe that, Jason. Based upon the comments, there is one pipe size that we will probably change from a 24 to a 15. We're actually downgrading some. I will agree the majority, Chris Ham with KDH, my feeling on this, a lot of the comments are more drafting issues rather than any design or, like Ryan mentioned, fundamental aspects of the plan. We have committed that we will have plans back to them Monday. We'll probably be closing business Monday. More than happy to sit down with them anytime after that to go over them. But like Ryan mentioned, we will be submitting another full set of plans for the actual phase 1 development. This approval does not give us permission to go start moving dirt yet. It just gets us through the PRD practice so we can come back and get the phase 1, which would be the first 73 lots.
Chris, I know you and I know Ryan. And again, I'd like this to go through. A couple of weeks ago when I saw that 8-page letter, I asked Sean to bring in the drawings and I went through it. I'm a dumb dirt digger and I saw a lot of mistakes. I'm gonna stand beside my engineer. I hear he's tough. We want tough.
Oh, I agree completely.
Hold on, we deserve tough. I don't know, I'm not knowledgeable enough to know at this process what is required with pipe sizes and building on easements. I saw that stuff. I have no problem, I didn't talk to the rest of the board, see where they're at, to give you something on condition that you get these back in, but I would say if you don't get them back in and get it approved, it's a no-go. I hate to see you burn daylight.
No, I agree. Like that's why we're committing to get them back in by the 1st. And with condition. Now there are some items like Brian mentioned, obviously that the homeowners we're not going to be able to do anything with that. The planning module, we have no control over that. That is a discussion right now between Peters Creek Sanitary Authority and the DEP on how they allocate taps. Basically, my understanding is they want Peters Creek to remove, and this is probably going to be moving forward in the township, if a plan comes through, they want them to take them off the books completely. If they're allocated 200 taps for the year for 2021, if somebody submits a plan and requests taps, those taps are now removed from Peters Creek allotment because it's assigned to this. Most sanitary authorities will keep them on plan, but they're somewhat allocated to the developer, but they are not given to the developer until they pay actual tap fees. I know speaking with Rick Kovac at Peters Creek, this was a huge surprise to him. That is why he's actually stepping in and speaking with Terry at the DEP. That is probably the main item that we just do not have any control of right now.
Did you guys previously talk to Rick Kovac about this when you started?
Yeah, the whole plan, they signed off on everything in the planning module.
And it still was a surprise.
Yes,
Interesting.
because
I'd have to ask Gary at this point, can we do something like this on condition they get in here and finalize them?
Because it's a PRD, it's more conceptual that, yes, they've met the requirements of the PRD zoning ordinance to do a PRD development. They can't, as Chris said, they can't move dirt, they can't get a building permit, and they've got to submit, final site plans that are gonna be thoroughly reviewed, and those have to be approved before they could start the project. I think that there's a little bit of give and take. And I think if you approve it with those conditions as set forth in the Harshman letter, that you're counting on NVR Mineral Beach to comply with having those documents, those plans, those revisions in their hands on Monday.
Yes. Like I said, it's gonna be closed of business Monday, because today's Wednesday, so. But to be honest, we received the comment letter yesterday. We are probably 75% of the way through the comments today.
Jamie, the letter you're referring to is the August 24th letter. Alrighty, I'd like to make a motion to approve the final PRD approval for the Mineral Beach development, conditioned upon the HC Harshman CE Group letter dated August 24th, to be conditioned on that to be reviewed and completed by the end of business day on Monday, which is September 1st. September, what's Monday's date?
August 30th, 29th.
I would say submitted, not reviewed.
Okay.
I don't. If I'm submitting Monday.
I'm still trying to find Monday's date.
It's August 30th.
August 30th. Not reviewed, submitted. Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Breinig?
Yes.
Mr. Eskin?
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Right, I got one more comment. I know you make it sound like, you gave them you guys gave them the drawings. But, Thursday last week, we got so many projects going on. We got the stick on his back to push you as much as we can too.
Understood.
He's busy. I want him to hire more people. So, I'm surprised he turned it around from Thursday to.
It was a quick, this was a quick review turnaround. I will, yes.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 17, approve deny Harshman CE Group to proceed